The wind howled outside as I stood before the old, decrepit hotel. Its faded sign swung in the breeze, creaking like a mournful cry. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding, and pushed open the heavy wooden door. The air inside was stale, and a chill crawled up my spine as I stepped into the dimly lit lobby. The concierge desk was unmanned, but a flickering lamp cast an eerie glow over the faded wallpaper. The front desk bell was coated in a layer of dust, and I hesitated before tapping it. The sound echoed through the empty lobby like a distant whisper. "Hello?" I called out, my voice wavering. "Is anyone here?" No response, just the sound of the wind whispering through the cracks in the walls. I glanced around, feeling a growing unease settle in the pit of my stomach. But I had heard the rumors, the tales of this haunted hotel, and I was determined to experience it for myself. I made my way to the elevator and pressed the button. The doors creaked open, revealing an interior that seemed frozen in time. The red carpet was faded and threadbare, and the tarnished brass buttons gleamed dully in the dim light. I stepped inside, the elevator letting out a groan as it ascended to the upper floors. The hallway on the second floor was equally dim, with a single flickering light at the far end. As I walked, the floorboards creaked beneath my feet, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I reached the room at the end of the hallway, the number barely visible on the peeling door. With a shaky breath, I inserted the key and turned the knob. The room was chilly, the air heavy with a musty scent. I flicked on the light, revealing a space frozen in time. The furniture was draped in dusty sheets, and the wallpaper was peeling in places. I shivered, despite my best efforts to convince myself that it was just an old building showing its age. As the night wore on, I settled into the creaky bed, determined to see if the rumors were true. I had barely closed my eyes when I heard it. A faint whisper, like someone murmuring just beyond the walls. My heart raced as I sat up, straining to listen, but the sound faded as quickly as it had come, leaving me in an unsettling silence. I tried to convince myself that it was my imagination, that I was letting the stories get to me. But then came the footsteps, soft but unmistakable, moving across the room. My breath caught in my throat as I watched the dust-covered floor, seeing faint impressions as if someone were pacing back and forth. "Who's there?" I managed to croak, my voice barely above a whisper. No answer, just the sound of footsteps continuing their haunting dance. I forced myself to get out of bed, my legs trembling as I approached the source of the noise. The footsteps led me to a corner of the room where a mirror hung on the wall. My reflection stared back at me, but something was wrong. My reflection's lips were moving, forming words I couldn't hear. I leaned closer, my heart pounding in my chest as I strained to make out the words. And then suddenly I could hear them, a soft, mournful whisper. "Help me. Trapped. Can't leave." I stumbled back, my breath hitching in my throat. The mirror was just a mirror again, my reflection motionless and silent. The room felt heavy, suffocating, as if the walls were closing in on me. I had to get out of there. I practically ran out of the room, down the hallway, and to the elevator. I jabbed the button, willing it to arrive faster. When the doors finally opened, I stepped inside and frantically pressed the button for the ground floor. But the elevator didn't move. It just stood there, as if stuck between floors. Panic rose within me, and I pounded on the buttons, my heart racing. And then, with a sudden jolt, the elevator lurched into motion. I watched the numbers above the door change, each floor passing in agonizing slowness. But as it descended, I felt a chill settle over me, the air growing colder and colder. The elevator finally reached the ground floor, and the doors creaked open. I stepped out into the lobby, my breath misting in the frigid air. The wind outside had intensified, and the lobby seemed even emptier than before. I stumbled towards the front door, desperate to escape the suffocating atmosphere of the hotel. But as I reached for the door handle, a voice whispered in my ear, so close it felt like a breath against my skin. "Stay." I screamed and flung the door open, stumbling outside into the night. The wind tore at my clothes, and I didn't stop running until I was far away from that accursed hotel. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that I left a part of myself behind in that haunted place. The memories of that night haunt my dreams, the whispering voices, the unexplainable footsteps. And I can't help but wonder, what trapped souls still linger within those decaying walls, seeking release from a torment that can never be escaped?